Hey guys, how's it going? So this is going to be part 2 of the K7HLA build and paint job. In this video I'm going to show you how to polish the inside of the bells and also paint the horn. So it's a little bit of a lengthier video, but y'all hang around till the end because I've got some cool pictures and video of the horn all assembled and put together. It turned out really good. So anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Y'all enjoy this. Alright guys, so we're going to look at polishing these bell flares. This is the first part that I'm going to do with this horn as far as painting goes. Now I don't polish all the flares, I just want to do this one because it's going to be the K7 and it's a pretty good look. But I'm going to polish them first and then we'll go to painting after everything's good and polished. I always just I use the manifold to mount the bells to hold them. I've got the manifold in a vise secured down pretty good. So this is how I polish it. I'm going to be using the drill and this polishing head. Now if I wanted to go for like a super mirror finish, I'd probably use some kind of air tool with a polishing, like a buffer head on it, because you can really get down a little harder with that. But I'm going for more just like a mild, polished look. Nothing too mirror. I kind of like that look. More of like a gunmetal look, I guess. It is a lot easier to get that. A lot faster to get that on a new horn. If you have a used horn, there's going to be corrosion or, just tarnish from time or even railroad paint, which is really tough to get off sometimes. But anyway, like I said, this is a brand new horn. So I'm going to use this drill. I've got this head. I got this from Harbor Freight. It's where I got this buffing compound also. So we'll get started and I'll show you the process that I do. So we'll apply a little bit of this compound to this head right here. So that should do it and we will get started. So as you can see, it's already shining it up pretty good. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this on. And go back to it. So you can see how that's starting to look. It's shining up pretty good. And like I said, I'm just going for a shiny, polished look. I'm not going for mirror. This is probably not the best way to do it if you're trying to get a mirror finish. But anyway, so I just do that to each bell. I'm not going to make you watch me do it to all the bells. I'm going to do this one a little bit more, but you get the idea. It's pretty straightforward and simple. I do, after I finish this, I've got another head that I'll swap out and I'll use an actual like aluminum liquid polish that like you would polish like rims with, and I'll just put some of that on here and I'll just do the same thing and it shines it up a little better. So you get the idea, but it's starting to look really nice and it gives the horns a really, really good look. So anyway, I'm going to finish up with this one and then I will get that liquid polishing compound out and show you the step I do with that. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I got that shined up a little bit. Next step is I'm going to get another head and I'm going to use some of this aluminum polish. Now this is no specific polish that I found does the best. This is just one that I use and it seems to do a good job. So any other polish would probably work well too. But anyway, so what I usually do is I'll just take it and I'll squirt just a little, kind of drip it down in there and then catch it with this. And I'll just go around it easy. I don't push real hard. So you get the idea. So you just keep doing that, and you know, you can grab you a microfiber cloth and wipe it down, but it's starting to shine up pretty good. You know, so I may do another step of this if I want it a little shinier, but you get the idea. So I just move between all the bells and do this. It's pretty straightforward. It's really not that hard. It just takes a little time. But as you can see, it's looking pretty good. So that's about it, guys, as far as polishing them. I mean, there's no really secrets or tricks. You just do it, and it turns out good. But anyway, there are other ways you can do it. My way is not the best way. I'm sure there's other good ways to do it. There's probably, you know, polishers I'm sure you can buy that would make this a lot quicker, but I don't do that much polishing, so with the drill, the way I'm doing it is just best for me. But anyway, I'm gonna polish the rest of these up and we will start priming. All right, guys, so I just wanted to show you this real quick. This is the side that I did with the drill that you just saw, and I went ahead and did this number 1 also, and I actually used I guess it's an air chisel with a polishing head on it. This is it right here. So you know, it was quite a bit easier. This is actually the first time I've used it on this, and it went quite a bit faster. So you know, both look about the same. Naturally, what you're seeing here, that's just flaws in the aluminum that you know, Micro Precision uses. They can be buffed out, but they're kind of hard to get out, to be honest. But you know, like I said, I'm not going for a super mirror finish, but this does a pretty good job. So just wanted to add that in, that this is a good option also. So you know, whichever way you know, decide to choose, both are going to work good. But just figured I'd show this to you. All right, guys. So we've got those all polished up. There's a good look at them. Like I said, this is more of a rough polish. I'm not going for complete mirror finish, although they do look pretty good. But anyway, so that's what those look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these completely disassembled, and we are going to start priming. All right, guys, so I've got everything taken apart, and I went ahead and masked off what I wanted to mask. So as you can see, I've removed the back caps, diaphragms, and the diffuser rings on all of the bells. Also, I have taped off where the O-ring is on the feet. Now, a lot of people, or some people, they want to tape the whole foot. With me, it's really preference. It doesn't matter, but I like taping just the O-ring area. I like the bottom of the foot to have paint, just because water does get under it in between the manifold. And, you know, it's just another layer of protection. I do tape off where the O-ring will sit down on the manifold, just so that it doesn't stick, you know, to the paint if you ever need to remove a bell. Got the tag taped off also. So anyway, that is that. There's the diaphragms and diffuser rings, and then our back caps, and of course just hardware. So anyway, time to prime. All right, guys, so this is my method of painting these. We're going to start with a primer. I'm using a Rust-Oleum primer. It's the fast drying kind. This has always been the best for me. So anyway, like I said, this is my process. It can be done many different ways, but this is how I do it. It's always worked well for me. So this is how I've always done it. But anyway, got my paint, and usually you probably should wear a respirator. I've got one, but it's messed up right now, so I'm just going to do these 2 bells, and I'm going to grab me another one before I do my other bells. But we're in good open area too, so I'm going to hold my breath. But anyway, so you just shake it up real good. I hold the bell like this and just start hitting it. You know, stay back a little and just hit the bell. So I do like this to get the foot there, get the foot, the base of the bell, the neck, and then you can kind of shimmy it around. Get the rest. Like this, like I said, this is just a primer. You know, you don't want any runs, so be easy with it. And then, once you get down low, I'm going to go ahead and pull this over here. I'm going to set it down like this. Now we can get the flare. Move this out a little for you. Now we can get the flare. So I've got it set down. That's going to protect the polished area, and we're just going to start hitting that. Like I said, it's no professional paint job. I mean, I can get them looking really good. I've done this several times. It's a little windy out here too right now. But you just want to get a good primer coat. It's all the way around. Now I'll show you one tip. We don't have any runs here, but one way to handle a run, if you have one, you can do this. Set this paint down. You can grab the bell and you flip it like this and watch your run if you have one. Like I said, I don't have one, but you can flip it back and forth like this. If you do have a run also, I've found that you can swing the bell like this and it'll smooth some of the paint out if it's running. So you just have to play with it. I've done a lot of these, so you know, I don't know, it's just something you figure out, I guess. But it's really simple. I mean, I have a lot of people ask me how I paint my horns and how do you get them looking so good. You know, I spray paint and it looks like crap. You know, how do you do it? But this is pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much it as far as putting the finish coat on also of your color, whatever color you're doing. So, you know, that's it, guys. So anyway, I'm gonna hit this number 2 and hit the rest and see you when I'm done. Alright guys, so that's what you got to do as far as priming goes. It's really simple, really straightforward. You know, you just want to take it easy. You want to get a good coat on, but you don't want to overdo it because you don't want to get any runs. So it's pretty straightforward and easy, but that's how I do it. So I've got a bell here and I've got my back cap. The other bells I've got set off to the side drying. My other back caps are over here. But anyway, one thing I was going to say, sometimes, I'm not sure why, you'll get like a cluster of bubbles to form like on the surface of a bell or a back cap or whatever. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why, sometimes some bubbles will form. So one way to help that situation, if that arises, is you can get a torch kind of like this and just a quick hit, just like that. That's all it takes, just right around where those bubbles are at, and it'll pop them. Then you can come back with your primer and hit that area real lightly again, and it'll kind of fill those bubbles in and take care of that spot. Again, this is the primer I'm using. It's the Rust-Oleum Professional primer. This is what I use on all my horns, and it's always worked good for me. So anyway, let's move on and go ahead and start our main paint coat. I've got this paint here. This is a gloss navy blue. It's a Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2X. I also use the Rust-Oleum Stops Rust brand. These are the two best that I've found. So anyway, as far as painting goes, it's pretty much the same as you saw with the primer. I'm going to give this one coat. We're losing light out here, but I think you can still see pretty good. So again, I'm going to hold it like this. This is how I do it. There's many ways you can do it, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to hold it like this, and you just start hitting. Hold your nozzle back pretty far. You can always add more. You don't want to be too close, you're going to get runs. There are a few different techniques I have to mitigate the runs and to, help them if they do form, but it's best just to not have them form. So anyway, we're just hitting this. Now, I will tell you with this paint, and I don't know about the 2X, I don't use it too often, but with the Stops Rust at least, it does not like multiple coats. So get you one good coat, and that's usually about it. I've found that with that brand at least, a second coat, even if you let it cure for weeks, you're gonna get bubbling and crackling. So one coat is really all you want. It's all that's worked for me. I've tried to clear coat horns weeks after painting, and it cracks the paint all up. So anyway, this is how I do it. Just get good coverage. So that looks good. No runs. We're looking good. Like I said, you just don't want to hold it too close. When you hold it too close is when you start getting your runs. So now I'm going to set it down, and we're going to hit it. Setting it down too, that protects the polished bell on the inside. I think you can see that. So we're just going to hit it like this. Again, I know I don't have a mask on. I'm not trying to breathe this paint, but should be wearing a mask. But I am outside and there's a little breeze, and it's blowing away from me. So this is how I paint them. I mean, it's real simple. Like I said, I have people ask me all the time how I paint my bells. What's the secret to make them look so good? I mean, really, this is it. It's nothing special. Sometimes I get embarrassed actually when people ask me how I paint them, what paint I use, and I say spray paint, and they're like, "Are you serious? You don't use automotive grade paint?" And I say no. So that's it. I mean, super simple. So again, now I'm going to raise the bell up like this. That's the gravity is going to then pull this down. That's going to help with any kind of runs, which I don't have any right now. But if I did, I'd be doing this. I'd be watching the run. I'd flip it back, watch the run. You can even turn it sideways. You can kind of do this just to move that paint around if there was a run. And it usually will smooth it out pretty good. So anyway, that is the color we're going to get. I guess I am going to get the others painted, and I will be back and show them to you what they look like painted. So that's it, guys. Feel free to holler at me in the comments if you have any questions, but there's really no secret to this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward with how to paint these. All right, guys, so we've got them all painted. Went ahead and did the back caps also. Here's a picture of how I did those. They're pretty simple too. You just lay them all out and, you know, just paint them. Just make sure you get all your edges and, you know, just don't go too heavy on them. Back caps are a little easier though because they're laying flat. So if you get a little too much paint on them, they're not really going to get runs. But anyway, there's the bells. These turned out pretty good. No runs this time. So next we're going to look at painting the lettering, the Airchime on the back caps, and also all the lettering and numbers that's on the side of the bells. So, as far as painting this lettering, I've got the number 4 here. You just want to get you a small paintbrush. This is a really small paintbrush, and I've actually cut the end of the bristles off a little bit with an X-Acto knife. And then I've got some silver that I'm going to be using, and you just put a little bit of paint in the top is what I do. You squirt a little in there, spray a little in there, and you're just going to use this. This is how I do it. You just get you a little on the brush, and you go real slow, and you do all your lettering. It takes a little time, but it turns out really good, and it looks good. So this is just how I do it. I'm sure there's other ways you could do it. But anyway, so I'm going to get a little on my brush. And you don't want to get too much, because if you have too big of a dab on your brush, when you go down to start applying the paint, it can run over the raised lettering, and it'll run down in your crevices. So you don't want to make that mistake. But you just go real slow. I mean, it's really easy. It's just kind of tedious, but it turns out looking really good. And of course, you know, using contrast colors helps a lot. If you have a dark color and then you go on the lettering with another dark color, it's not going to show up real well. So, you know, like red, if you have a red horn, you know, do black lettering. You're going to be able to see it real well. You know, with this blue, this silver, it contrasts pretty well. You know, I wanted to do this just because I have the inside of the bells polished. You know, I've thought about possibly trying to just remove the paint and have bare aluminum on the lettering, but I think this is probably a little bit of an easier way to do it. So I'm just going to finish this one up, and y'all can watch. And you know, the same goes for the back caps. Just take your time. If you're not happy with how the paint is looking, you can go back over it again with a second coat after it dries, and that'll pop it a little bit more. Of course, that does take more time, but it's worth it in the end. You know, the key is just having a really small brush and not trying to rush it, because especially on the M's right here, they can, it's easy to get paint to fall in the cracks. And when that happens, you've got to wipe it off and sometimes even hit it with a little paint again, which then you risk having that crackle effect happen. Then you're going to ruin the whole bell. Another way I've found to fix a correction is if you do mess up and have some paint spill over, or you accidentally hit the bell of the brush, you can take a toothpick while it's wet and still kind of wipe it off. You know, or you can get a little bit of the color you used to paint the bell on another brush and just kind of touch it up. So here's the number 4. And don't make the mistake that I've made many times. When you go to flip this bell around and do the other side, don't forget you got wet paint. You know, it'd be underneath it now when I flip it. You go to grab it, you're gonna wrap your hand around it and it's gonna stick. Stick to your hand and mess the paint up. So anyway, that's what that looks like. You know, I mean, it goes pretty fast, but you just want to take your time, and turns out pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to knock the rest of these out, and I'll see you here in a minute. Alright guys, so we've got those done. Again, these are the paints that I used for this paint job. There's the primer. I used the Rust-Oleum 2X, what is that, navy blue I think is what that was called. And then, yeah, gloss navy blue. Then the metallic silver brilliant metal finish for the lettering. And then for the manifold, I actually used a charcoal gray. And that's the Stops Rust brand I was talking about. So the Stops Rust-Oleum and then the Rust-Oleum 2X. Those are the two that I like using. They do take a while to dry. So here's the bells, the manifold with the extensions we made, and then your back caps. And as you can see, the 1L, we've got the 1, we've got a 2, 3, 3A, then a 4, and then the 5. So let's get this thing put together and check it out. So one thing I just wanted to add in, when you're putting these bells together, when you're screwing down your bolts, I always run them in just with a drill, just because it's faster instead of running them in by hand. But once you get down close, you want to stop and be real careful, put a socket on them, and then tighten them in the rest, because the socket, if you know, it's going to go past this bolt, it's going to rest on the paint. So if you crank that bolt down with the socket touching the paint, it's going to mess your paint up. So you just want to go real easy and gentle when you're screwing all your back caps in, not mess the paint up. So this is it all put together. This is the K7HLA. I hope this video was pretty informative. I've had a lot of people want to see how to build one of these and also how to paint a horn. So I figured I'd build one and paint. So I went with the dark gray on the manifold, as you can see here. I was going to do it blue, but I figured I'd change it up. I think it looks pretty good. And of course I did that on the mounting brackets also. So y'all be looking for the dedicated video on this. I'll have it out pretty soon. You'll get some run-bys in, the static test. So I think it's going to sound pretty good. I haven't blown it yet. But anyway, I'll leave y'all with this. Here's just a short video of some pictures of the horn and what it looks like and how it turned out. I appreciate it, guys. We'll see you on the next one.